everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Navs Nation podcast. This is episode 6. I'm with my man, Gus Balo. I'm Nick Perenick. We're here to bring you some more Navs content this week before a long week of baseball, a couple games on the road in Vermont to start the week. Then we'll finish the week at home with the Bark in the Park this weekend. We'll get to that just a little bit later. That's going to happen Sunday at 4 o'clock. But first, we'd like to let you know, as always, this episode is brought to you by Remax 360 Real Estate Office. I was driving around Lynn today and I just saw Remax 360 all over the place. And it just proves that they're just dedicated to buying or selling your house and helping you with that local market. And right now the housing market's crazy. You don't need me to tell you that, but Remax can offer you the latest technology to make this home buying experience easier than ever. So make sure to call Remax 360 today by calling 781-593-7611. And Remax 360 is conveniently located on 85 Exchange Street in Lynn. That's in Suite 302. So Gus, welcome on in. Let's recap a little bit of what happened last week before we get to this awesome interview with Austin Amaral.
Yeah, this last week was definitely interesting. We were last recorded, I believe, on Wednesday, but they beat Stanford on the road Wednesday night at Goodall Park. First time I got to go there this year, and that's a beautiful place to play up in Sanford, Maine. That was led by a Joe Lamuscio grand slam, one of the big home runs that he's had in the year. That's his second of the season for Lamuscio. Then they played on Friday night after an off day on Thursday. They beat Winnipesaukee 15-8 behind a 9-run 6th inning. Yes, 9 runs in 1 inning in the top of the 6th. 15 batters came to the plate. 11 reached base in a row, all with 2 outs. Pretty insane stuff at Winnipesaukee on Friday night. They came back to Saturday against North Adams, losing 8-5 to the Steeplecats in the first decision of the season. First 2 meetings were obviously ties between those two, but the Steeplecats beat the Navs 8-5 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, on Father's Day, the Mainers took down the Navigators at Goodall Park 12-8, despite the Navigators actually being down 6-0 in that game at one point. But North Shore was not able to finish the job, losing 12-8 to the Mainers. But a big week coming up, off day on Monday. We are recording this, but on Tuesday, they'll be at the Vermont Mountaineers, and they'll be at the Upper Valley Nighthawks on Wednesday. So a couple big games coming up for the Navigators as they look to get out of this 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, and what can I say? 2-game losing streak after a 3-game winning streak. That's summer ball for you. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to have your ups and downs. But so far, we've seen some guys, that have really stuck out. And once again, Joe Lamuscio having a great game. And that game up at Winnipesaukee, you just saw that offense come back and really punch the Muskrats right in the face, honestly. And then in that loss to Sanford, being down in the hole 6-0, they came back and took the lead in that game, with 8 straight runs. So, it's just a team that can really bounce back offensively so far. And, we have guys who can hit for power. We also have speed. So it's just good to get guys on base any way we can. I'm looking forward to 2 road games in Vermont where we just battle and maybe some more consistency offensively and on the mound throughout the whole game. And we can land some big wins this week.
Definitely, like you said, big wins in fact. And we saw in that game against Winnipesaukee, all of the offense coming back to life. Logan Bravo having a home run, Kyle Maurice having a no-doubt home run. That was big home runs for Navigators. That was a shot. But again, North Shore is looking to get out of that slump. And, in terms of standout performers, we're looking at a couple of different guys. Obviously, the guy we've had on the podcast today, Austin Amaral, he's had a solid season for North Shore. And then Jonathan Luders, who's been moving all around the infield. He's having a nice season as well. Cal Cristofori's back behind the plate the last couple of games. Even Tristan Latham's been able to get in a couple appearances behind the dish as well. So a couple of big standout performers for the Navigators. And again, this is a big week for them as we now are officially into the heart of the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned Amaral, and we had a great talk with him about his first year at Stetson and his transition to the Navs, and a guy you and I know very well in Gavin Sullivan working with us this season, a Stetson pitcher as well, kind of guiding Amaral in. And so we can just pass this along if you want to introduce this interview, Gus.
Yeah, let's do it. So now here is our interview with Austin Amaral.
We now welcome in Austin Amaral, coming in off his freshman season at Stetson University. He joins Dylan Brazil as one of the 2 hatters from Stetson on the roster. They hail out of the Atlantic Sun Conference. In his first year of college ball, he already has 10 strikeouts through 10 innings pitched in just 3 appearances, already helping guide the Navs to 2 wins while allowing just 0 earned runs. Living in Lynn with his Stetson and Navs teammate Dylan Brazil, Amaral is doing the best to soak up the summer in the Boston area while gaining some more experience for his sophomore season at Stetson. So, Austin, thanks so much for joining us today and making some time for us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Just guide us through here what you thought about the phone call to join the Navigators and what brought you here, and what was the draw for you?
It was more of the coach. I didn't really get the call from the coach for the Navs, but the head coach, Steve Trimper, he talked to me because you guys had a former player, Gavin Sullivan. He played on the Navs, so he's like, hey, the Navs, they're really looking for a guy like you. They're going up to the NECBL next year. So just get with Gavin and talk to him, see how you like it. If you're comfortable going up there, sweet, let's do it. So I talked to Gavin a little bit. He seemed to really enjoy it. The environment he said was great. So decided why not go up. And then a couple days later, I heard Dylan Brazil was going up there too. So kind of just worked out in my favor. So really excited to be up here.
As far as we know, you and Dylan are living together. Is that correct? You guys are living in the same house?
Yeah.
How was that? How was that experience for you? Just living together. I mean, you guys probably are pretty familiar with each other.
Yeah, it's new. I mean, we are going to be roommates next semester at Stetson. So I'd say it's a little pre introduction to the whole roommate situation with him. So getting used to that. But besides that, I mean, it's new for me living with a different family, obviously being away from home with baseball. So, I mean, I like it so far. I'm enjoying it. Mass is a great place. Very different weather compared to Florida right now. I mean, Florida's humidity is just killing you. And then here it's beautiful out most of the time.
That's funny you mentioned that. I talked to a couple guys on the team who come from the South or schools in the South, and they're just like 60-degree days. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Meanwhile, all of us want to go to the beach up here. We live in the 60 and below all year round pretty much, except for like 2 months. But that's funny you mentioned that. And it's funny you mentioned Gavin Sullivan, working with him closely this summer with the social media, and he's doing a great job as an intern. Just talk to me real quick a little bit more about that influence he might have had on you coming to the team, and what was said to kind of, it's a big transition to come up from Florida. You've been down there all your life playing college ball down there, and then to come up here to the Northeast, it's not an easy transition.
Yeah. Talking to him, he made it sound like it's I would say a new chapter, I guess you could call it for me. So it opens the doors for new possibilities with scouting and introduction into maybe like a little bit more competitive baseball in NECBL. So I really looked forward to that. And I didn't get so many innings at Stetson. So I'm like, okay, this is going to help me improve my pitching game, my mental game, just overall mental toughness and just having more grit, you could call it. So he really made it sound like kind of like a new beginning, I guess you could call it. But he helped me through Stetson, going into the transition from high school baseball to college baseball. So he made it sound very, very intriguing to me to come up here. I'm glad I did. So far, I'm loving it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that freshman season at Stetson. You've just finished up there. How was it for you overall? Maybe you didn't get the amount of innings you wanted per se, but what was it like the transition from, high school baseball and then now into college at Stetson?
I feel like when I was in high school baseball, I didn't really have like a throwing program or like any structure to my throwing. And in later years, the arm care just wasn't there. I'd feel very uncomfortable throwing like long toss or just like bullpens. I didn't know how to structure that into my program. And then going into college, it's just like it's laid out for you. You have days you're throwing. So you throw in a game, then you're long tossing the next day, then you're 91-20 feet throwing, and then you're penning the next day. It's very structured. And I felt like for me, it would just open my eyes to just arm care, routines, getting in the habit of throwing every day and building up your arm strength. Yeah, I think that was the biggest eye opener for me transitioning into college. And obviously school, it's very different from high school. But especially with this COVID year, it was different for college, online classes with a little bit of in-person classes. So I think it's still going to be new to me next year, sophomore year in college. So I feel like I'm still going to be getting used to it, not fully settled in yet. So we're just going to have to see how next year goes too.
And back to your days in high school, you played at was that University High School?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
North City.
although you said there was like not a lot of structure in your personal game, what was it like the experience playing there, and how were the teammates there, and where did some of those guys end up in college?
Ooh, one of my good buddies, William Quinones, he went to FIT. It's a D2. It's the north of Stetson. Very nice campus. He was a powerful hitter. He was a first baseman. I think he's going to be transitioning into an outfielder. Another kid, Kevin Sosa. I forgot what college he went to. I know he's playing ball. Dalton Meredith, catcher. He's playing ball at. I don't want to put the wrong college out there. We had a couple kids on the high school team go play college ball. I feel like that group of kids, I feel like that was more enjoying the game and a little bit of competition, but obviously not the competition in college. So I feel like the competition standpoint is much more different from the high school to college level.
And then just talk about that playing experience. I mean, being with those guys and being, obviously your senior season was kind of cut short due to the pandemic, but just the experience of playing, high school baseball and just the relationships that you had with your teammates.
I feel like high school baseball, you kind of just grow up with those kids because probably 90% of that team I've grown up with since I played league ball. One of my friends, Brendan Schwartz, his father was my league ball coach. So a lot of them I just grew up together with and just had the chance of just to develop with them throughout my baseball career. And then comparing that to college, it's kind of you're just thrown out there with people all over the country because high school is very centralized. Whoever your hometown you kind of just grew up with, and then you played with them throughout your whole career up until high school. And then when you go to college, it's like whole groups of guys could be out of the country. It's just a lot of diversity, I guess you could call it, in college baseball compared to the high school experience.
It's funny now that I'm looking back and now fast forward to this Navigators 2021 season. You've never played college ball. You're coming off, you're not pitching a lot of innings. And then you come into the season, first game of the year, and you get the nod and you get the start in game one. So what was that like for you? Get the nerves out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of just threw me right out there. In college, I was in more of a starter. Now I'm getting to start a little bit more games. So it was a conversation topic about me and my college coaches about trying to get more start time and maybe transition into a starter or a long relief. So so far I'm really liking it. The starting position, I feel confident with the pitches I'm throwing, with my mechanics, definitely getting better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm really enjoying it right now.
And just that experience with the Navs. I mean, going into the season, did you have any interactions besides Dylan? You knew Dylan obviously going into the season, but did you have any interactions with some of the other guys on the team just prior to the season or just through, communication, text or direct message or anything like that?
I can't say I knew anybody on the Navs. The only person I even remotely knew that could have been on the team was Gavin Sullivan, but he ended up not wanting to play this year. So it was just me and Dylan just coming in here just with a open mind, trying to meet new guys, see talent from around, maybe learn off of them, making more friends along the way, I guess you could say.
Out of the new guys this year that you've made friends with, who would you say is like one or two of the guys that you buddy around with the most now?
I feel like it could be Mike or Luke Marshall. I feel like I throw a lot with them. I kind of just chit chat with them a lot, just understand the game better, trying to just help each other improve. I mean, definitely Dylan Brazil, but without him, probably Mike and Luke Marshall. Really good guys.
And what's the communication been like with you and the catchers? We haven't really spoke to many pitchers yet, and you got 3 of them on your roster, and you mostly Cal Cristofori has been taking most of the duty so far behind the dish. But what's that communication been like? They got to meet all these new pitchers, all these new arms, all these relief guys too. and they got to learn all your pitches and all your signals and everything like that. Can the communication kind of go off a little bit? What's that? Bring me in on that.
So far, the only person that I've had a chance to throw to in a game situation is Cal. And for a lot, like props to him, just learning so many pitchers. We have, I don't know, around 15 pitchers on this roster, which is a lot for especially one or a couple catchers to learn. Just whole new arms, just throwing into the season. It's a lot, and props to him being able to just call it back there, be confident in what he's calling. Cal, he's a phenomenal catcher. I love him catching me. Me and him talked after every inning. We go over like what's working, what I'm feeling that day. If my slider is going to be my primary off-speed pitch or my curveball will. So we kind of just play it out through an inning, and he's like, I understand he's still trying to learn. He's just getting used to what I feel comfortable throwing at what counts. Like the fastball up, I really like the fastball up and going on that with an 0-2 count, trying to make him chase out of the zone. So we talked about a lot of fastball up, a lot of 0-2 pitching, back foot, sliders, and just being more competitive on the plate. But it's a lot, and it's definitely a eye opener for me to see how they have to deal with new pitchers and just understanding how they pitch, because it's unique to every pitcher how they want to pitch. And Cal's or whoever's going to be catching in the game, just being able to know that.
So one last question before we end this interview. It's been a great interview of Austin Amaral here on the Navs Station podcast. What are you most looking forward to getting out of the season that you've had with the Navigators as you head back to Stetson this fall?
So going back to Stetson, I'm really excited to see where I'm at from the Navs, see how much I've improved, or to see where the Stetson coaches think I'm going to be at that point in time. And I'm also looking forward to the new recruits at Stetson, seeing what the new recruits can bring to the team. And just getting back out there to compete for the Super Regional, to be honest, because that's the goal at the end of the day. Just keep winning games, having fun while you're doing it.
Well, winning games is the name of the game, and winning for the Navs would be great. The next couple we got coming up, you guys are on the road in Vermont Tuesday and Wednesday before returning home, and then on Sunday will be the Bark in the Park game. A lot of anticipation for that one at home at 4:00 versus Vermont. So a big stretch of games this week for you guys going forward. Austin, thanks for cutting some time out for us today and joining us on the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that was a great interview with Austin Amaral. And, obviously he's been a big guy for the Navigators so far. He came for the start in that first game against the Mountaineers back on the 4th. And, it's obviously been a nice season for Amaral. But now it's officially into the heart of the season. At Vermont on Tuesday, at Upper Valley Wednesday before Winnipesaukee comes to Fraser on Thursday. Friday is an off day. And then Saturday, it's at North Adams before Bark in the Park on Sunday against the Vermont Mountaineers. Nick, you want to talk to us a little bit about Bark in the Park?
Well, I'm wicked excited about Bark in the Park, but real quick on Thursday's game, usually it's children under 4 are free. 16 and under will be free for Thursday night's game against Winnipesaukee. But going back now to Bark in the Park, great promotion we got going on here. I can't wait for all those dogs to be at Fraser Field on Sunday at 4:00. I know a couple of my friends are going to bring their dogs down to the field, and it's just going to be an action-packed day. And if you do bring a dog, you get 1 ticket for free. So come on in, bring your friends, bring your family. It's going to be a hot one, but we got all the Dippin' Dots at the concession stand that you need. So looking forward to that game and looking forward to another game against Vermont.
Right, like you said, another game against Vermont. So that'll do it for the Navs Nation podcast. As terms of socials, you can always catch us on socials at NS Navigators on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're looking forward to more editions of the Navs Nation podcast in the coming weeks and for these games. But for now, that will do it for episode 6. This is Gus Balo and Nick Pernick signing off. We will see you next week for another edition of the Navs Nation podcast.